I once heard someone say the week after a loved one dies is the loudest week of your life because silence suddenly becomes a living thing in your home. That was the first thing I noticed after my wife died. My name is Daniel, and for 12 years, my wife, Amanda, was the only constant in my life. We did everything together. We worked 5 minutes apart, ate from the same plate, slept on the same side of the bed every night. People used to joke that if you saw me, she was somewhere behind me. So when they called me at work to say she'd collapsed, that she probably had a heart attack, that she died before they even got her to the hospital, it didn't feel real. It didn't make sense. She was only 35. Healthy. Full of energy. That morning she was laughing about something our neighbor did. And by evening, I was a widower. The house became a tomb. Our pictures on the wall felt like ghosts staring at me. Her scent still clung to the pillows. The kitchen still held half-done chores she never finished. I barely slept that first week. I kept expecting to hear her humming in the bathroom, or dragging her slippers in the hallway. But I didn't hear any of that. I heard something worse. The first sound came on a Tuesday. 1:17 a.m. A slow, dragging scrape across the roof. I froze. My heartbeat felt too loud in my own chest. I peeped through the window, maybe it was rain. But the sky was clear. The night was dead silent. Then it came again. It was not an animal. And definitely not a branch. It sounded like footsteps. Careful ones. Like someone crawling. Every night after that, between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m., the noise returned. Sometimes it circled the house. Sometimes it stopped directly above my bedroom. And each time, I felt my heart climb into my throat. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I started imagining things. Could it be a burglar scouting the place? A stalker? Or worse, could it be Amanda's spirit, restless? On the 6th night, I could have sworn I heard whispering. Soft whispers like the sound a person makes when they're talking to themselves. Right above me. My hands shook so badly I dropped my flashlight. I didn't want to check outside, but I couldn't stay in the bed either. So I paced the house till sunrise. Didn't blink. Didn't rest. By the 7th day, I was convinced I was losing my mind. Grief was turning my house into a haunted maze, trapping me every night. To be honest, a small part of me hoped it was her. That she wasn't gone, at least not completely. Eventually, my friend, a civil engineer, came to check the house. He looked at the roof. Checked the metal sheets. Tapped the beams. And then he laughed. He explained, gently, that the noises were just thermal expansion and contraction. The roofing sheets were heating during the day and cooling at night, causing the materials to shift and pop. It was normal. Common, even. I felt stupid, but at the same time, I felt relief wash over me. I also felt confused. Because if this was normal, why had I never heard it before? That question sat in my chest long after he left. Had the sounds always been there? Was the roof always sighing and settling like this at night? And I just never noticed. Was it because I used to sleep so deeply beside her? Safe, warm, held. That nothing could wake me? Or did the world simply become louder after she left? Because now every sound had room to echo. Grief has a way of turning whisper-level noises into thunder. Maybe the house was always alive. Maybe I was only just learning to hear it. Now, when the roof clicks and shifts at 1 a.m., I don't freeze anymore. I just listen because I don't sleep deeply anymore. The house didn't devise a new pattern. The only thing that changed was me. And maybe that's part of healing. Learning the new sounds of a life you didn't plan for. Learning how to sleep again. Learning how to live with the quiet. I shouldn't have been there that night. It turned out to be a very scary night. I had never been more afraid all my life. My name is Rachel. When I was 25, I spent the longest night of my life in a house that wasn't mine. I was staying at my friend Maya's place in a quiet suburban neighborhood just outside Portland, Oregon. I loved visiting her. There were porch lights that glow warm at night. Mailboxes stand straight, and lawns were trimmed like they're competing with one another. The house itself was modern, pale gray siding, white-framed windows, hardwood floors that creaked if you stepped on the wrong plank. Inside, it smelled faintly of lavender detergent and the lemon cleaner Maya used religiously. We'd planned a relaxed sleepover, wine, old stories, lots of laughter. But close to midnight, her phone rang. Family emergency. She paced the living room, shoes already on, keys jingling in her hand. "I'll be back early," she said, forcing a smile. "You'll be okay here, right?" I nodded. I thought I would. After she left, the house felt hollow. The refrigerator hummed loudly in the kitchen. The air vents clicked as the heating system adjusted. Somewhere outside, a dog barked once and then went silent. I locked the front door. Checked it again. Then I went to the guest bedroom at the end of the hallway, the one with the narrow window and thin white curtains that fluttered slightly whenever the heater kicked on. I lay on the bed, scrolling through my phone, the blue light washing over the ceiling until my eyes grew heavy. Sleep finally crept in. I woke up to the sound of wood shifting. I'm not sure how long I slept. A slow, deliberate creak. My heart stopped. I sat up instantly, every nerve awake. My brain tried to rationalize it, maybe Maya came back. But deep down, I knew. She would have called. I heard footsteps. Careful. Quiet. Intentional. The front door. Someone was inside the house. I slid off the bed without turning on the light. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. My heart slammed so hard I thought it might be audible. My fingers went numb as I slid off the bed, the cold floor seeping into my skin. From where I stood, I could see down the hallway. A shadow moved across the wall. Then came the sound of a drawer being pulled open. Metal sliding against wood. Fabric shifting. Someone was searching. And whoever it was, believed they were alone. I gripped my phone, hands slick with sweat, and dialed 911. I pressed the speaker close to my mouth. "There's someone in the house," I whispered. My voice barely sounded like mine. That's when I heard footsteps changing direction. Coming closer. The soft thud of shoes against hardwood. Panic surged through me. I imagined the dispatcher's voice suddenly breaking the silence, imagined the intruder turning toward the sound. I ended the call. The screen went black. And the footsteps stopped. A man stepped into view. I saw the curve of his jaw. The edge of a black knit beanie pulled low over his head. The side of his face caught briefly in the hallway light. He wasn't masked. He was real. In his right hand, something long and dull caught the light, a metal object. A weapon. He moved with unsettling calm, opening the dresser, rifling through drawers like he knew exactly what he was looking for. I stood perfectly still, my back pressed against the wall, every muscle screaming to run and knowing that I couldn't. The room smelled faintly of dust and laundry detergent. My mouth tasted like copper. He took 2 items and slipped them into his jacket pocket. Then he paused. His head tilted slightly, like he was listening. I swear my heart skipped a beat. After a moment, he turned away. His footsteps faded down the hallway. The front door opened. And closed. I didn't move. I stayed there until my legs became weak. When I finally collapsed onto the bed, I called Maya, my voice cracking, words spilling out in a rush. I expected disbelief. Instead, she went quiet. "I believe you," she said slowly. "Anne. I think I know who it might be." She mentioned her ex first. The police came. Statements were taken. The locks were changed. But the truth came later. It wasn't her ex. It was a coworker. Someone she trusted. Someone who'd helped carry boxes into that very house. Someone who knew the layout. Who knew when she'd be gone. He thought the house would be empty. He was wrong. And the only reason I'm alive is because I didn't step into that hallway. I think I developed a phobia for staying in other people's houses alone after that incident. They say Canadian winters are quiet. Well, it felt too loud one night. This happened during one of those winters. And to this day, I still don't know what was in that kitchen. My name is Elena Morris. At the time, I was 28, newly divorced, and desperate for distractions that didn't involve sitting alone with my thoughts. That's why I agreed to babysit for my friend Rachel, even though her house sat on the outskirts of a small town in northern Ontario, surrounded by pine forest and nothing else. Rachel needed someone overnight. Just one night. Her husband was on a work trip in Vancouver. She had a mandatory hospital shift. Their baby, Noah, 8 months old, slept through the night. She offered to pay for my help, but I declined. I really wanted the distraction. Yet I felt a kind of unease after I had agreed to help. Now I understand why. Must have been my instinct. The house was beautiful in a lonely way. 2 floors. Gray siding. Snow piled high against the windows like it was trying to climb inside. The forest loomed behind it, black tree trunks stretching upward, bare branches scratching against the sky. Inside, everything felt normal. Rachel showed me around, gave me the emergency numbers, and kissed Noah goodnight. When the front door closed behind her, I checked the locks. Front door, locked. Back door, locked. Windows, latched. Just me and a sleeping baby. By 10:40 p.m., the house had settled into that deep nighttime silence. I was curled up on the couch, scrolling aimlessly, when I heard a bang. A sharp, heavy bang, like someone had slammed both hands down on the kitchen counter. I froze. The kitchen was empty. I knew that. I had walked through it 5 minutes earlier to grab water. The lights were off. Chairs tucked in. Nothing out of place. I stood up slowly and listened. Nothing. Probably the pipes, I whispered, though even as I said it, the explanation felt thin. Still, I walked into the kitchen and flipped on the light. Everything was exactly as I'd left it. No fallen objects. No open cabinets. No movement. I stood there for a full minute, heart hammering, waiting for something, anything, to confirm I wasn't alone. Nothing happened. So I turned off the light. That's when it happened again. Bang! 2 hits this time. Right behind me. Close enough that I felt it in my chest. I spun around, light back on, breath sharp in my throat. The kitchen stared back at me. Silent. Empty. I checked the doors again. Locked. Windows, sealed. I even crouched to look under the table like a child afraid of monsters, half hoping I'd find something just to give the fear a shape. Nothing. That was when I noticed something worse. The sound only happened when I wasn't looking. I tested it. Standing in the doorway, I faced the kitchen. Silence. I turned my back. Bang. I turned around. Silence again. The timing wasn't random. It was responsive. Deliberate. Like something was waiting for me to stop watching. My skin crawled with the certainty that I was being studied, not from the shadows, but from the space itself. I grabbed the largest knife from the drawer. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped it. Noah slept through everything. That might have been the most terrifying part. The banging continued on and off for hours. Never while I was looking. Never when I faced it. Only when I turned away. Sometimes it was soft, like knuckles testing a surface. Other times it was violent, enough to rattle the dishes. I sat on the couch, knees pulled to my chest, knife resting against my leg, eyes locked on the dark kitchen entrance. I didn't blink unless I had to. At some point, exhaustion blurred the edges of fear into sleep. Yes, I think I slept off briefly. Around 3:17 a.m., I heard something new. Not a bang. A drag. Like something heavy being slowly pulled across the floor. From inside the kitchen. Toward me. I stood up. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my legs refused to move. The hallway light flickered, just once, and in that brief dip of brightness, I saw it. The kitchen chair. It had moved. Only a few inches. But it had been pushed out from the table. Facing the living room. Facing me. I don't remember screaming. I don't remember thinking. I only remember backing toward the stairs, knife raised, whispering, "No. No. No." The dragging stopped. The house fell completely silent. And then, directly behind me, right at ear level, something breathed. Slow. Satisfied. Like it had finally been noticed. I don't know how I stayed conscious. I don't know how I didn't drop the knife. I turned around. There was nothing there. Nothing behind me. Nothing in front of me. Just a normal house. Morning took like eternity to arrive. I was grateful to have made it alive. Everything seemed like nothing had happened. Rachel returned at 7 a.m. She found me sitting upright on the couch, still holding the knife, eyes bloodshot, untouched by sleep. I told her everything. She went quiet. Then she said, very carefully, "You're the third babysitter who heard the kitchen." They moved 3 months later. I never babysat again.